Hello, these are some of the resources and books that I talked about on my latest podcast, and I thought it would be nice if I could show a little bit more about them, kind of open up the books. So instead of reading about the details, you can actually see why I love them and why I'm recommending them. So these books right here, I'll start over here. These are just books that really keep my kids busy, and my son in particular, they're really good for his age range. They are flap books, and they have various topics. This one, by the cover, if you saw, it was about airplanes, but it just has flaps and facts, and it just has some really great information on the topics that they talk about, and it's something that he likes to bring around to each room. If you can tell, they're very worn. This one's about cities. This one's about construction sites. This one is about space, and this one down here is about vehicles, and this is actually our second one that we've gone through just because it's so loved in our house. So they actually just continue to add to their series. They have a couple that I just saw the other day that are out that I know will be a big hit for a birthday gift this year. And so another book series that my son really loves is my Big Wimmel book series. And what's great about this, similar to Waldo, is it will tell you, it'll have a picture. You could actually find all of these on each page, and so it has a name and it talks about it. And so we'll go through each thing, finding a kudu, for example, and it has fun pictures. Anyway, my son carries these around everywhere. Fire trucks at the construction site, cars and things that go, of course, his favorite. And again, they're always adding to their series. They have some that have just come out this year as well that I'm keeping an eye on. So here are just these sticker books, paint by sticker. These are things that my kids can do on their own. This is more geared to my son's age, just a little bit bigger for stickers, really great for fine motor skills. This one is a little more challenging, and so my daughter, for example, is working on this one, and what we'll do is a lot of times we'll finish it up and we'll send it off, and it can be a birthday card or something like that for someone. So this is something that they like to work on. Over here is by Melissa and Doug, and it's just a learning resource that I love to gift to people just because I feel like it's really easy to understand with the color coordination for the red hand, for the hour and the minute hand. It comes with these cards that you can, the kids can quiz themselves, you can quiz the kids, and then cover this here so you can't see the number, and then you can show it to show the time that you are on. So I really like that, and my kids like it too, and it helps out when learning about time. And so these cards here are the cards that I talked about by Flash Kids, and why I like them is because they just come in a really great box, so we can bring them around, and I'll just show you what it looks like. So these are for the sentences, and what they'll have is, I think those are a little bit out of order, but they will have the letter. They'll do their copy work for it. On the back, there'll be some words, and once they go through A through Z, they have some sentences that they can work on, some phrases. And here is a pen that it comes with on the side with an eraser, so everything is together. So the cursive and the print one is great. It shows the arrows, and it has a number to tell what steps come first. This one is a little more basic, but I got this one for my 5-year-old, And I have a feeling my 1-year-old, he already sees us writing things, and he likes to kind of mimic that. So this one, they have pictures and places that you can trace numbers, and it's probably something he'll like to do, and can be an activity just to get the idea for writing. He's already trying to do that. So anyway, these are really great, and I love those. Over here, these are just some things in our Bible study. Of course, along with our Bible, when we read, sometimes it's nice to add a devotion. And these ones here, when we pick the day, this one will talk in particular about an animal. And a lot of times we are learning about animal facts, or just something like over here. I remember when we read for April Fools, it talked about a decoy fish. Well, that day then or for that week, when we do our research project, sometimes it comes from this book here, and we learn more about animals and God's creation. This is one that we got for our son because he loves facts and science, and again, it's just something that we can learn more about. So in addition to that, we really love the Rose Publishing charts. They're really good visual to explain to the children various things. And this one is the one that comes, they usually come in pamphlets, but this one comes in a whole book series. And they just have it divided based off of scripture topics. This one shows what the temple looks like, described by scripture, maps, and talks about the Trinity, goes through different world religions. And so anyway, helpful as we are talking about things, just to have a resource like this on hand. Over here, this is probably the only book I grabbed that's from the Master Book series, but again, when we do our Bible study, it's something that we switch up. I do this one twice a week, and if you can tell, like my daughter, she writes this, but then I find ways that my 5-year-old can also contribute, and he can start working on things, tracing. And so anyway, this is just an example, and the way that I do it is, I think you're supposed to do it in 4 days, but we split it up into 2 days, and I'll have both of them just add parts that they need to. My son might want to draw, or my daughter, and I just let them try different things. So anyway, that's just something I wanted to show when it comes to how we try to use different books and things for our quiet time. And these are just a few of those. Over here is a puzzle that I love, and I love it because when you think about kids just being able to do projects on their own, this one, most puzzles have the picture, but this also has a number system, and it shows where to put the next piece. And as it goes around in a circle, then it also shows the direction to go up. And so my daughter, she likes to just do this, and she'll take it apart, and then it's a 3D puzzle, so she can have the globe on her desk, and it's just something to look at when she's done too. So I know that they have many more of these 3D ones, and they're just a really great puzzle and a little challenging for her to do. So over here are books that my son loved when he was about 2 or 3, and I have my 1-year-old is already grabbing. I have to be careful though, but these are flap books, and they go through all the numbers, and so this is something that I go through with my 1-year-old, and as you can tell, he likes flaps too, but just a great book that always just they're always just curious about what comes next. And so I love these type of books, and this is actually right now my 1-year-old's favorite book, and I think it's just how easy it is to hold. It's a foam book, but he reads this every day. He actually looks for it, and it's really sweet because I can tell that he's already going to love reading books. Over here is a book that I got at a garage sale, And I really try to, during summer, a lot of teachers, just books that are just 25 cents. Flap books are my favorite, especially for the young ones. And this is one that my son and my daughter loved and that I try to keep around. And I do right now with my son just because I don't want him to tear it. But I love this one because it's just a great one to have around to keep him busy. Over here are some books that my daughter loves, just some series that I wanted to talk about. This is actually one that we just checked out from our library at church, Pilgrim of the Progress of Pilgrim Mouse. So anything like this is just one that my daughter wants to read. As you can tell, the Bramley Hedge is kind of a similar series. And over here is James Herriot, Treasury for Children. She can read these. These have beautiful pictures, and it's just a great series for that 7-year-old stage, and we read it together. She can read it right now herself, and she just loves those type of books. And so over here are just some resources that I like to pick up anywhere I can. I talked about these. These are from Church Children's Worship Bulletin. I've also seen this at other churches. We visited one in Minnesota when we were visiting family. They have 2 age groups. I could only find this one when I was looking around real quick, but age 7, and they have like a 3 to 6 that my son does that's more geared for his age. So what I'll do is I'll pick one of these up for the week, and I'll say, okay, this is our activity project for the week, and there's 4 puzzles that they have to do. And so they're fun, they keep her busy, but again, I just pick it up for her. This is something I recently picked up at the library. They were doing, if you just look online, especially like for the city, under the city websites, they will show events that are coming up. And this event, they had a dump truck, I think a bulldozer that the kids could climb in, and my son of course would love that. And so they had this here, and at the end you can add his picture and kind of personalize it. That was just something that we could grab along with like a coloring pages. This was something from one of our local museums. I'm teaching the kids sign language, so of course it's great when you can just find things like this and add it to your collection. So just some things I grabbed from this past month. Over here is some science projects that I talked about that my husband does. There's a Magic School Bus series, Discovery. These come once a month. I think my husband liked this series, but we're keeping these pamphlets because we can continue to do them with our other children and just pick up some of the materials along the way. I found these, and I'm always keeping an eye out, clearance and end caps and various things for any type of project. I remember I looked online and there's some decent reviews for these Science Whiz activities. They have a part where you can open up and just see the type of things that it comes with, but for some reason all at the same time, all of these kind of went on clearance at various stores. And so this one too is on clearance, and this one too, which is you can turn a device into a microscope. So those are kind of some things that my kids can do after they finish some of these science projects. So over here, I talked about my daughter having these little like TV notebooks, and here's an example of her just writing her 3 facts. She puts her title, she puts the date. She's only putting the year right now, but what I'll do is, this is I think from a previous year, and what I do is I will go through and I'll grade it, and then I show her like how to capitalize, and then on the computer we have a book going where we pick a picture, we write our facts, and teaching her how to do that. So anyway, a way to just kind of keep her also thinking while she's watching some shows. Over here is the books that I use for history right now. I just love, the kids, when I read to them, they love it. They can play with toys and just listen, and at the end we talk about it. They're short, but I'm really liking this one, The Story of the World. They have 4 volumes, and the Middle Ages, the early modern times, and this one is the modern age. And I have a feeling we'll just read through them, and then we'll probably continue to just read through them over and over. And they have questions to make it a little more challenging for older ages. They have quizzes and questions that you can get for this series. Just some things that I use for my 1-year-old right now is I have these blocks. This is like a Jenga set, so even my older ones can play, but he loves to open and shut. I got these for just like $1, and he carries this. He loves this, and I take this along to each room. So when I was talking about geography, this is the book that I use. So just for example, this is for China, but it even goes into province. It will show the information for that country, so my daughter can look up, and we have a format that we follow. She can write the population. She can write various things, which she does over here. So she goes, she cuts it, she glues it. We have a continent sheet that she looks up. She then has to find, this is a country sheet, continent sheet, and she knows exactly how to look for it, how to find the information, how to look it up herself in this book. And this is the calendar that we use. Instead of throwing away these pictures, we keep it and we read each thing. There's trivia questions, but my daughter picks 2, my son picks 1, and he's doing the same thing in his notebook. He cuts and pastes, and all he has to do is write the country. So he's kind of practicing, and it's getting him ready to do that independent work. I love these just note cards. On the ring, they're small size, but this one in particular is her math facts. This one is for her spelling tests, and even when she doesn't know a word, we carry it around, we write it in, and then time to time we will open it up and do a spelling test. And then as we go, we just cross off words, and it's just a great way for her to practice that, since she wants to participate in spelling bees. She does some for her favorite Bible verses and various things like that. And so over here, this is the company from the Learning Resources. They have this cash register that I talked about that I really love because it has coin quiz. They have various games, coin quiz, an addition game, a subtraction game, money match, and they have it for 2 levels. One's a little more easy, so my 5-year-old can do that, and then one that's a little more advanced. And so what I also love about it is it will take real money. It comes with play money, but if you put in money into the coin slot, it will tell you what it is, a quarter, and it's just even fun for my 1-year-old to push buttons right now. This is also from the Learning Resource Company, something that I added that I use just when I am talking about colors and fruit. I use it when I'm teaching a different language, and what I love is just it comes with so many different colors and fruit and vegetables. We can organize. My 1-year-old likes to dump and put things in buckets, and so we added this to just talking about colors and all that. And so over here, I forgot to mention this. This is when we do our, I was talking about geography. This is how we can take it a step further. We do a research project for the week, and my son picked this one, and so Germany actually is something that the kids have a connection to with their dad's side of the family. So we called some family members, we got information for family tree. My 5-year-old was able to contribute by writing, they colored, and then for their weekly presentation, my daughter will present on Germany. And so it's something that her and her dad were able to work on. These poster boards I get for free when I order from online. It comes with these boards to divide food, and I just keep them, and we've done one on the state that we live on, and so we have these all over the place. We end up putting them up on our wall as we're learning. This is something that I talked about too, magnets. I love the Picasso series. This one right here is a racing track set, and so what's really great about it is the size of the magnets are just family friendly for my 1-year-old. It comes with the car. The car actually has a lot of speed and it goes around the track. We got a pretty big set, but this one, of course, it's a race car, but you have to have the right magnets to use the cars on, but you can use the existing Picasso set just to kind of decorate the tracks, making towers. But anyway, you can do a lot. You can make ramps and various things, and my son is really loving that. So over here is the marble run set that we've also added to our collection, and this is something that my daughter is really loving right now. What I love about it is, again, it's big balls. It's nothing that's too dangerous. My kids love Legos too, but we've had to put those up because my 1-year-old loves to put everything in his mouth. So anyway, this one, the marble run, it's a pretty big size. So my daughter already has a creation made in her room, but she can play with this for hours, and they can play alongside doing a track and a marble run. So they continue to add to their series, but it's really great. These are also things that I've picked up from the dollar store. This is just a magnet board, but my son is always working on his letters, or he can take it with us to different rooms. This laminated, usually you find this is a pretty durable material. I picked this up at the dollar store too, and so as my kids are learning with dry erase, they can put in their math facts to work on various things. So this is one that I just picked up and I wanted to show. This is from a garage sale find that my mother-in-law picked up for me. It actually came with every grade. It came with a chalkboard. It's a whole series, Handwriting Without Tears, but just saying, like, there's so many great resources out there that you don't have to really pay a lot of money for, because teachers, this was from a teacher, she had a garage sale, and I'm using this first grade, for my daughter right now, and it's just a really great set. It comes with the teacher's guide, and so I'm always just trying to find, of course, inexpensive ways to add to my collection too. And so I think I covered everything on the table. I'll have to circle around. I see one more thing. Over here are just some books that I like to use that I've talked about. These are not really part of the curriculum series, but I like to have just additional books. This is for logic, Lollipop Logic, grades K through 2. So both of my kids are actually doing this right now. They have, I make copies so that all my kids will eventually be able to do it, but as you go along, the puzzles get more difficult, and so something great to do. These I just pick up whenever they're a good price, because this is just ways to fill time. Sometimes when we go to doctor's office appointments, take it to times when I know they're going to have to sit. So that's one for my son. Just trying to always find good deals on those. This one I picked up for like $1, and my daughter's loving the Mad Libs, and she's learning about just ways to write sentences. It's just a great thing to have. Again, these things I like to put in my bags, and this is just another type of activity that they can do. This is the one that we're focusing on this year, that talks about manners and etiquette and just various things, and so there's many out there, so I thought just for this year we would go through this book, and it's been great to learn about that. And over here, we're particularly learning Japanese in our home. I've had this for now 5 years, but they practice their letters, there's vocabulary. So one of my resources for Japanese over here is the book that I talked about porn proofing today's young kids, especially if they are on any type of device. My sister told me about this. This is actually not the junior version. There's 2 versions, but I figured they can grow. As they grow, it'll be a good resource to have. My daughter's code book that she likes, and she just picks one for the week, and she will work on one of these if we don't, pick one up from church. And there's a couple here that she likes, and we were learning about South America, so we were able to get one specifically to work on one of those. This I picked up on discount too. It's a bird book for all the birds in North America, and my daughter just has binoculars, and we're going through it, and we're gonna have a checklist system of all the birds that we see, and she wants to travel with it. Anyway, just a great way to look outdoors and to explore. Another just find, these you can find, and just kids just filling the time in the day. This is the magnetic responsibility chart that we use in our home. I know there's a lot that are great that are out there, but my son has one, my daughter has one. They come with a lot of these. They also have a place where you can dry erase, a way that they can help out in the home. These are games that I just found in the room I thought to talk about because they really are great for our kids to think about, even just sometimes when we want something fun to do. Games are just a great way. We love card games too. This one is something we were just gifted, and that one really helps with fine motor skills. These are, just the last thing I wanted to talk about are some of the art projects that we do. I like to get these sketchbook kits, these sketch pads, and this is like one of the sticker books that they are right now. They like to get stickers and have a page for each animal. Over here is one that she did for her art class, but what we'll do is we have like 3 of these going, and for birthdays for a grandparent, she'll draw a picture, she'll put what it is, and then she eventually wants to give it to them. So she's thinking of them, and they'll have something to keep always from her. These, I actually have like a great acrylic paint set for my daughter, but these are what I'm using for my son, just as he is, wanting to start painting, but it's a little more, for his attention span and just what he wants to do. These pens are a great way to start. They work great on canvases, and so I like those for him. Over here, just something that my daughter, she did in her art class, and so what I like to do is I just went and I bought some canvas sets, and this is one that my daughter, we did together. She actually drew it out herself, all the pansies, and then we colored it together. My son, he did the blue all around, and it's just something that we can keep, and it was a fun project to do. This one was one that my daughter did with her grandpa. They picked a picture together, and when her grandma visited, they painted this together. This is one that my son did, so he has a few more that he's done with grandparents, and it's just a great memory. They have them on their walls. They think of their grandparents often, especially because they don't see them as much. And so anyway, just some of the resources I wanted to talk about. I'll also post, links or some that I didn't put out. I can talk about those too, but just some of the things that we love. So stay tuned for the next episode.